All right, it's that time of week again. Week 6 waivers and drops. Welcome, Josh.
Welcome,
Um,
buddy.
we got our first big bye week this week. 4 teams on a bye. We got the Colts, Raiders, Bears, and Bills this week. Um, it's slim pickings this week for waivers, guys. So
Do what
just
we can.
forewarning.
Do what we can. You weren't
Um,
telling me moves I had to
yeah, I
make
know.
this morning.
So we'll do our best to give some good advice. But I guess starting off with quarterbacks, I guess the guy I like the most for I guess a 1 week streamer I like is Kirk Cousins. Um, and I think
That's bold.
it is bold, but I'm talking
Yeah.
just 1 week because he's going up against the Eagles who have been beat up against in the passing game. Um, and I think Adam Thielen, speaking out against him in the press, kind of did something, motivated him or something. So hopefully that trend will continue and he'll pick up his game. So 1 week streamer, Kirk Cousins. Again, if you had Breeze, Cam Newton, Baker, who's been either hurt or just garbage, and you need someone to
Baker.
fill in.
Baker's
So
garbage.
he's just
What he
garbage.
last? What was he last night? Like 10 for 22, 100 yards,
I'm not sure,
a
but
pick,
it
a
wasn't
fumble. Just
it wasn't good. And then speaking of Baker, I think we talked about this last week, but you could drop him last
you
week, but even now this week you should just drop him.
drop him. He ain't worth nothing. Um,
It's yeah. QB 28 on the year. I don't see it getting much better.
we
Yeah.
brought up Gardner Minshew, but he's playing New Orleans enough. Who are
Yeah,
easy to
but
pass on. The 1 week
well, but I
stream.
think I think season long Minshew's is someone to look at adding too. Especially like I said, mentioned like if you had like Breeze or Baker and Newton that you went in on right away at the beginning of the year, who just hasn't been it for you. Minshew might be a guy that you may need, or even Aaron Rodgers. I'd take Minshew over Rodgers right now.
One interesting name starting to float around my circles has been Teddy Bridgewater for the next few weeks while Drew Brees is gone. He really looked like
Hmm.
he turned a corner this week, which is good. Enough weapons in New Orleans. Just mentioned their defense is allowing the pass all day long. Why you should pick up Gardner Minshew for a week.
Hmm.
But yeah, playing Jacksonville without Jalen Ramsey, he won't be back for another week most likely. Would you buy into Teddy Bridgewater for 1 week if you need it
Um,
against New
I would,
Orleans?
yeah, no, I definitely would. New Orleans has a lot of weapons. Um, I think I didn't put him on my list. I think he was just rostered a little bit too high. I think he just fell out of that. Um, I think I cut it off at the 50% range for me. Um,
Going
but yeah,
deep.
if he's available, definitely go for him for sure.
I mean, for 1 week, I just don't see a whole lot of good matchups coming up. But
No, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
But
that's
in terms of quarterback department, that's really all I have
yeah,
for pickups this
it's a
week.
rough year.
It,
QB's
it,
dropping like flies.
it really is.
Baker Mayfield might as well have been.
Yeah. I do want to bring up that Sam Darnold will be coming back this week. He has been cleared to play. I wouldn't throw him in your lineup if
No,
it were me. I,
I
I don't expect him to be the man right away.
I don't even know how many leagues he was even drafted in. What
He- True.
I'm
I
looking
don't know.
at his availability
Uh,
13. He was drafted in 13% of leagues. Yeah,
yeah.
but where he should be.
He's definitely got value in dynasty leagues. I'm sure. He's young. He's talented. He'll develop and get better. So
They got Le'Veon Bell locked down, so that's one piece
yeah,
and taken care of. But yeah,
definitely.
quarterbacks rough out there.
Yeah.
Tight end
Uh,
rough.
yeah. Moving on to running backs. Top guy for me, Adrian Peterson. He's available still in like 51% of leagues.
Hmm.
Um, Jay Gruden just got fired and wasn't really big on Adrian Peterson.
Hmm.
So that may look to change. And they're playing the Dolphins this week, so they should run on all over them. And Adrian Peterson could have a big week this week.
1 week streamer,
So,
definitely.
1 week streamer for me, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to. I still don't think they'll turn the corner and instantly be a good team without Jay Gruden be running out the fourth quarter on anybody.
I wasn't suggesting that at all. I still think the Redskins are trash and they should probably tank. Yeah, well, yeah. It's Miami, Bengals, Browns. Well, actually, the Browns actually have a legit chance to win that division. As bad as that sounds.
Yeah. It's there. Baker Mayfield. It's just too much hype for him. Too young. Too early. All the Super Bowl hype. That was and you could see it. He's just tense, overthrowing everything. He just needs to settle back in, play football. We all know it's there.
It'll come together. It'll take some time, but it'll get there for sure. Another guy I'm looking at is Chase Edmonds. David Johnson's dealing with that back injury a little bit, so he could miss this week coming up. And the little bit of work that Chase Edmonds has gotten, he looks really good. He's averaged 6.7 yards per carry, and if Johnson misses time, he's going to get a massive workload. So definitely something to look to monitor and keep an eye out for.
Yeah, it was not on my radar at all, but yeah, considering the David Johnson injury, it would make complete sense.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, against Atlanta. I mean, sounds bad, but Atlanta, they're not the same Atlanta. And I heard one good analogy this morning on the news where Atlanta just hasn't woken up from giving up on that Super Bowl, giving up 35 points to Tom Brady. They haven't snapped back out of it.
Yeah. That was a rough game. But
no, Adrian Peterson was the guy I was obviously going to mention. Easy matchup, the coaching change. Chris Thompson, I think, is droppable. They'll ride Adrian Peterson out.
Yeah.
He still is a target machine, only because the quarterback play is trash. But yeah,
I agree. Yeah, not many more options. One deeper league consideration is Jonathan Hilliman for the New York Giants. Barkley is not gonna play Thursday. Gallman's banged up with that concussion. He's in the concussion protocol, so he might miss Thursday. So he looks to be the starting running back coming up, but still he's facing the Patriots, so that's a tough matchup. So if you're desperate, I mean, because he is a starting running back, he does hold value.
Yeah,
but
some value. Now Wayne Gallman got it done for 1 week.
It's true, he did, but he did have a better matchup, I think, than going against the Patriots. So I think this is if you're desperate, really. But like I said, there's slim pickings, so this is why he's on my list, really.
Very slim pickings. And speaking of who also, Damian Williams, only picked up in 41% of leagues right now, is back from his injury and instantly outpaced everyone in the Kansas City backfield. Which is a scary sign for the Sean McCoy owners, and anybody still holding on to Darwin Thompson. But if Darrell Williams can stay on his feet, I think it is still his backfield to lose. It's more or less who's going to have the hot hand in Kansas City. But
it really is. It's whoever has the hot hand and who can stay healthy, because I think LaShawn has had a history of injuries, so he's got to stay healthy if he wants to even have a chance to get significant workload in that backfield.
I think they're doing a good enough job with babying him. They're not really practicing him week to week. They keep saying he has an ankle injury. Doesn't show up on any game film, but he, in flashes, is still Shady McCoy, but he's not all day Shady
as
McCoy.
ever.
But Yeah, Daryl Williams, when he is in there, it's his backfield to lose. They give him the most touches, and he performs with them. Second
Yeah.
game back from injury after getting 15 points week 3, and then week 4, 18 and a half points. If he's available in your league, just any healthy piece of the Kansas City offense, always worth grabbing. Always
Definitely.
worth grabbing.
That Andy Reid offense is always nice to be a part of.
And the Patrick Mahomes led offense, who by the way is also questionable with an ankle injury, had
You know,
tweaked
he
it and
he's
then got it stepped on with a cleat later on in the game. Yeah.
he's been off 2 weeks now. Wouldn't you say? A little bit. Fantasy wise, I guess. His numbers.
I mean, for Patrick Mahomes, yes.
Yeah, for Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
Yeah. Compared to a court, he's still
He's still the guy for sure.
he hasn't been
But I think he's come
beast
back
mode.
down to earth a little bit.
He is human. He's human. But
I think that proved it.
only thing I don't like about him this year is his schedule coming up also gets very, very hairy on the back end.
Yeah.
Compared to the games that are now behind him. Just something worth taking a look at. Pretty much all but one after this week, all but one game left against a top 10 easy opponent for him. Every other team he plays for the next 10 weeks are in the bottom 20 of defense strength that against him, be his worst possible opponent, are all in rather the top 10 respectively. Denver, Green Bay, Minnesota, the Chargers, New England, Denver, Chicago. I would look at that and almost just sell high. It's a weird year this year. And just his schedule just looks horrible. That's always something I look. I always look weeks advance in the schedule. Getting ahead of myself. I'd put Patrick Mahomes in the. If you could get a boatload for him, get a boatload for him.
But I do think that Patrick Mahomes has proved in the past that he is matchup proof.
That is, but it's,
those tough matchups. But so that's also something.
This is just a funny.
So I don't know. Yeah, it is true. It is a weird year.
It's
definitely a weird year.
My personal, I would say if you can get a haul. I mean, you'd still.
If you gotta get something though. You gotta offer.
Yeah. No, definitely.
King's ransom for that.
But he would be on my sell list.
No, but for sure. I think that's all. That's all I have for running backs. I don't know if you had anyone else.
You
pretty
much covered it. If Adrian Peterson's available, snatch up
Adrian
Peterson.
Receivers, top of my list, I had Mohamed Sanu for the Falcons. Falcons have been crazy pass heavy lately because
they're trash.
Their defense has just been terrible, and it'll probably continue to be that way. So, his productivity will just continue to be pretty good. I mean, he's had almost 6 catches a game, every game, and he's averaged at least 10 points in the last 4 of his last 5 games. So he's pretty solid flex consideration, I'd say, in that pass-heavy offense. And he's available in almost 60% of leagues, so there's a good chance he's available in your league.
Yeah, a little bit more of a stretch. I don't know if we ever established 50 or 60%, but one guy I was looking at, we never talked. DK Metcalf, Seattle. Absolute burner. Has game speed. I only see good things ahead of him. Still available in 43% of leagues with a pretty cherry schedule on the back half coming up for him. Prime for a breakout. Seattle looking good this year. Only lost to New Orleans. I think that was they still had Drew Brees, New Orleans. But yeah, not blowing anybody out. They're always involved in the game, so the pass game, that game script's gonna be there. That was one guy I wanted to mention was DK Metcalf. Digging deeper down the list is Geronimo Allison. Still monitoring Devontae Adams, what happens with him, health wise.
Yeah,
Same thing. Yep.
but I will say that he kind of didn't do much last game.
He didn't.
We kind of thought that with the Adams injury he would have gotten some more work, and we didn't really see that. And same thing with MVS. He didn't. He kind of was just a bust that game. I don't know if that was just game script or just how the game played out, or I don't know.
It's Aaron Rodgers. He's
and that's also something that's concerning too. It's Aaron Rodgers hasn't been a great fantasy quarterback this year, and that doesn't help the receivers.
Him and the coach haven't been on the best terms. But it's always something that will get figured out. And as far as Geronimo Allison, I mean, that's been his pretty much call since the start of the season. Bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game. If you need to play this week, they're going up against Detroit on Monday night. Always an easy pass defense. Have improved defense overall since adding Snacks Harrison last year. But still, if you need that 1 week play, going with the past, and it tends to repeat itself, and going against Dallas, and who still does have a tough pass defense, although Aaron Rodgers shredded it last week, and having a bad game is one thing. Going against Detroit and even Oakland the week after that, you could have a couple of games in there, and it's still something always to monitor if Devontae Adams is playing or not.
True. Hopefully he plays, because I have him in the league, so I need him. A deeper guy I'm looking at is Auden Tate for the Bengals. With John Ross in IR and AJ Green still out, he seems to be the guy. He's had 22 targets over the past 3 weeks, so he figures to be a strong option, remain a strong option there. So he's another guy to maybe stream for 1 or 2 weeks.
A little deeper than that. Just taking a quick glance at his schedule, it looks pretty solid. He could stay in there.
It just kind of depends on how long AJ Green's out. I'm not really sure the narrative on how long he's supposed to be out. I know John Ross is a little bit longer, but
there's some talk that he might not even play this year. Being
AJ Green?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something about being a contract year, he wouldn't even want to go out there and be 75, 80%. It's he's better off sitting on the bench for the year and just saying it is what it is, instead of going out there looking like shit and then going and try to get a contract.
Very interesting. I had not heard that.
I've heard some talk that there is serious talk that AJ Green might not even play at all this year. Huh? Don't make this shit up.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense. No, it really does. I didn't really think about that, but
yeah, he's something like a 32-year-old wide receiver on a contract year.
Well, in that case, bump Auden Tate up then.
Bump Auden Tate up. Move him up.
Move him up. And then one more guy who's he's available in almost 99% of leagues is Darius Slayton for the Giants. And this is someone who's, really you're looking at injuries, because the Giants are just really hurt right now. Sterling Shepard could miss this week. He's in the concussion protocol right now. They just announced Evan Ingram could miss this week. So the wide receiver position is just, the pass catchers are just, they're hurting right now. They're really thin. So he could be a focal point of the offense for a week or maybe 2, depending on how long people miss. So, and he blew it out. He's done pretty well the past couple weeks, I feel like. So, and kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah.
So just someone to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, widely available.
Oh yeah, he's there.
He's there. He's definitely there. There's one guy out there who has him, and his whole team's just all Giants. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you for wide receivers.
Yeah. same here. All right, moving on to the thin position of tight ends.
Uh,
Top of my list, I got Hunter Henry because when he got injured, a lot of people dropped him, so he's still widely available and he's coming back very soon. So if you can hop on that train and get ahead of the curve and get a talented player at a thin position, I think you should do it.
I just feel too much like that was years ago exactly what I was saying about Tyler Eifert for the Bengals. But he just kept getting injured. That's how I feel about Hunter Henry, man. He's going to be the next Tyler Eifert. He's just injured way too much. I wouldn't trust it. There's better options out there. I feel like
So like who? Because this is not a great position.
Yeah,
That's
no.
my thing.
Man, Kyle Rudolph, and yeah, if I had to take one guy, yeah, Kyle Rudolph would probably be the guy I'd go with. What's his availability? Yeah, only taken in 34% of leagues. Just like the game script. Again, Minnesota is not very good. They aren't winning as many games as they should, and they're not really blowing out as any games other than the Giants last week. I don't know. I gotta think Kirk Cousins does have a fire in him. I've seen him play decent ball when he was with Washington. It's there. I don't know if they've had any coaching changes over the year, but it just seems like something has changed. They were even better than this last year. Kyle Rudolph, just name value and upside would be the division they play in. Still have a lot of division games. They have, again, Detroit. Green Bay's defense ain't looking very good at all. Yeah, but I don't know. I can't trust Hunter. I have bad feelings about him.
I feel that. I get it. I don't know. He's talented and he's
super talented. So
Kyle Rudolph has not done anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Jordan Reed gets concussions like crazy. It's not like Hunter Henry's getting concussions like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get it.
No, I don't know.
But that again, I'm just saying for the sake of argument, Jordan Reed is hella talented. But what does it matter? Yeah, Jordan Reed, we always joke, he takes a concussion putting on his helmet. He's out of the game. Yeah, I don't know. I can't trust Hunter Henry. Just too many injuries on his report. But there's really nothing left. If it wasn't really for his bye week, if more deeper, it would be Dawson Knox, Buffalo. I just like what I see out of him. Don't know if you watched any of the Buffalo games, but
no, he's looking pretty good.
He gets his target.
Yeah. Who I like, I'm looking at is Gerald Everett from the Rams.
Yeah,
he's kind of broken out.
Yeah,
and the Rams have had to throw a lot lately because their defense just hasn't been what it's hasn't been performing like they usually have. And if that continues, then they're going to continue to keep throwing a lot, and they'll probably keep trying to get it to Everett. And
really tough game this week going against San Francisco. One of those teams I got just, it's weird seeing San Francisco on top again. But yeah,
I guess I'm also when I'm bringing up Gerald Everett too, I'm not just saying necessarily start this week. I'm saying pick him up maybe for a week in advance because he's had 2 great weeks in a row, and it's going to get to the point where everyone's going to want to get him. So you got to hop on him before everyone else does.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm getting at with Gerald Everett now. Maybe not pick him up to play him against the 49ers, which is a bad matchup, but pick him up to stash him for maybe a later week is what I'm getting at. But to be honest, I prefer Gerald Everett than Kyle Rudolph. Gerald Everett has done
Way
way
more.
more than Kyle Rudolph has done this year.
But
And
that
is
also
a
scares
better
me when
offense, in
teams
my
start
opinion.
keying in on how much he is doing every game. Yeah, a little bit deeper down there. I was digging more at the top of my
I,
list.
I just think he just seems like he has more talent than Kyle Rudolph, in my opinion. He's got a better quarterback.
He has a better quarterback, yeah.
Maybe it's arguable, actually.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say
Better
Kyle
offense.
Rudolph.
Better offense.
Yeah, Kyle Rudolph is a very good tight end. Is an above average to good tight end at bare minimum. What Gerald Everett will eventually be, I don't know if he'll ever hold a candle to what Kyle Rudolph has done over the years, but that's
Just
neither
someone to
here nor
consider.
there. Neither one of those help this week. But yeah, tight end. It's just it's tragic just digging through.
Yeah.
Just a whole lot of tragedy.
Another guy to consider is Chris Herndon. He's coming back from suspension this week. He looked really promising his rookie season. So there's just someone to just keep an eye on, maybe. Maybe not necessarily go out and grab this week, but I'm sure there's going to be some people grabbing him.
Oh, there already are. Yeah, no, that's not the first time. He's how many leagues is he taking in?
He's available in probably like 90% of leagues, I think.
No, he's taking in 30%. He's 70% available. Yeah, against Dallas, they've been giving up the butthole to everybody else. Why not? 1 week streamer, check him out. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's just a whole lot of tragedy in the tight end position, unless you drafted a top guy.
Yeah.
It's hurt.
Not many tight ends.
Yeah.
Is there any like big names that you're dropping this week? Other than Baker?
Mayfield. Yeah.
I mean, we already touched on him, but I know for me, I'm probably dropping on Wayne Gallman now. I mean, Barkley's almost back.
Yeah.
Gallman's probably
concussed. He's
probably gonna miss this week. So
yeah, no, yeah, that you had 1 week to get in on that ride.
Hopefully you got in on the fun while it lasted.
It did not last long.
No.
Dropping, who's on my radar, depending on where you drafted. I know we were talking about it before the video. And David Montgomery. It's not so much his talent. It depends on what kind of league. You still can get trade value for him.
Yeah.
It's not so much him. It's just the Chicago offense is bad. Just bad.
I don't know if I was necessarily saying dropping him. I was more making the claim as he was one of the bigger busts in fantasy this year.
Definitely one of the bigger busts. Depending on how deep your league is, he still has the upside that he is the touch leader. But it's just Matt Nagy's weird offense. He likes to use Cohen way too much.
Yeah.
And their offense is not good. They are a defense-led team. Chase Daniels, just God bless their offense, man. Jesus, take the wheel of that offense. If you can get trade value, sell them for anything. I would. I don't see their offense changing.
Yeah.
If you drafted him, that sucks. He's definitely a bust. But you said big name. If there's anybody on my radar as far as big names,
well, maybe not like huge names like superstars, but just like who are rostered in quite a few leagues. Like I don't know, like another guy I'm considering drop, like who I think should be dropped is like Duke Johnson, who's rostered in like 60% of leagues at least.
That's dropped significantly. Yeah, a lot of people been on the drop Duke Johnson bandwagon.
Yeah, he's a guy that definitely should be. And I know everybody wants it to happen for him, but like, it sucks watching Carlos Hyde just outplay him every week.
Carlos Hyde still is an above average running back. He's not
Yeah.
bad, but
No.
other than that, I know a lot of people were on the Chase Daniels waiver wire when all of a sudden he started starting games. I never got on that bandwagon. Yeah, it's just players there, wide receivers dropping like flies, running backs dropping like flies. It's just gonna come down to it. He's gonna have nothing left. I think if you picked him up late in the league, he's worth dropping your next go around. Other than that, no, it's a whole lot of stay the course and trust the process with my players right now. No big names I'd rush to drop.
Yeah, it was really just Baker and Gallman, I think, were the two biggest ones this week. I mean, Baker's really
Gallman,
the most obvious one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Baker being the biggest. Baker. Man, just the hype was real. And
yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel bad for the guy. You know, I was hoping, I was excited for the Browns this year. You know, I was expecting big things. You know, the Browns finally were going to be a legit team and
in a good division, stirring shit up. No.
Came out poop.
They're just.
They're the color of their team's the color of poop, and they play like poop. And it's just
they're the Browns. They're named after poop. Just something is weird about the Cleveland football. They can't have nothing, bro.
No, can't have nothing nice.
Can't have nothing nice in Cleveland. I'm good to end it on that note, man.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's all we have for waivers and drops this week. But yeah, join us next time, and we'll talk about our start and sit matchups.
Cool. See you then.
See you then.